Hi everyone, how's it going? Today I'm going to talk about how heaven and hell logically doesn't make any sense. And I'm just going to explain to you guys how I see that. So let's get started. So first of all, most Abrahamic religions, like Christianity, let's say, believes that after you die, after a person passes away, they either go to heaven or they go to hell. Heaven is seen as this beautiful place that's filled with all good people and only good things happen to you. There's eternal happiness. And on the other hand, hell is explained and described as this place that is going to be full of pain and suffering. And all the bad people are basically going to go to hell and they're going to suffer there together. So there's no pain in heaven and there's no relief in hell. Can we agree that that's what most people think, what heaven and hell is going to be like? Now, my first assumption is going to be that for this to work and for us to be eternally happy in heaven and to be suffering in hell, human emotions have to be intact in our afterlife. So we have to assume that all human emotions are a part of the afterlife, right? That's our assumption. Now, my first question is for heaven. If happiness is a human feeling, it only exists in contrast to sadness and pain. So if there's no pain in heaven, there's no suffering in heaven, what are you getting the happiness from? Because to be feeling happiness, you have to feel all range of emotions that a human feels, right? You have to feel maybe sorrow, excitement. How are you going to feel the happiness if you don't feel any of those other emotions? It just doesn't make sense to you. What exactly is happiness compared to? And if you tell me that, happiness is not compared to anything, you're just eternally happy. But then that does not mean you're human, right? It's almost like a lobotomized person that always has a smile on their face. Like, okay, you can be happy, but that means you're not feeling all range of emotions because that's what being human is like, right? That's an essential part of being human is to feel all sorts of emotions. So if we don't feel any other emotions but the happiness, we're not human and we're not living or experiencing, because we cannot experience heaven if we're always happy and that's the only feeling we're getting. So we're not experiencing it. We're in a constant state that doesn't change. Now, I question hell. So if hell is endless suffering, right? And full of pain, I wonder, what is the point of the pain? And I'm assuming that you don't have memories of your past, which if you did, it wouldn't matter, right? If you're in heaven or hell, because you remember all the past pain and human emotions. So that completely cancels the purpose of heaven or hell. So if I do not know what I'm being punished for, and I'm just being eternally punished, what am I learning? What is the point of the suffering? Because I am not aware of that suffering. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I'm not aware of the reason of my suffering, and yet I keep suffering. And there is no end of that suffering. So what is the point? But again, if I do have human emotions intact and I go to heaven, again, if I have memories from my human self of being hurt, of pain, then I'm not in heaven, because then I'm not always feeling happiness because I have memories of pain. And another thing that really fascinates me about hell is that when we talk about eternal punishment, eternal pain, we've seen even in pain and suffering, humans can bond. You know, poor people that we don't think can be happy, are often, you find them in joyous occasions and in ways they're celebrating their life in ways we don't understand. Because humans connect even in pain, and especially in pain, I would say, actually. So if there can be fleeting moments of joy and happiness in hell, because imagine if you just even crack a joke, hey, it's like, damn man, hell sucks. That's an emotion. That's sort of like a joke. That's humor. That's fun. Then it's not hell anymore, is it? So for heaven to feel like heaven, you would sort of need a memory of hell, or an existence of an hell. You need to know. And for hell to feel like hell, you would need a memory of heaven. And if you remove one side of the scale, it just becomes meaningless, emotionless. You cannot feel a range of emotions. You cannot feel anything. So the only logical conclusion that one can come to is that if emotions are intact in our afterlife, right, then that means that heaven and hell has to exist in the same place. Because to feel all human emotions and to live to our fullest, you have to live both in hell and heaven, which is life on earth, right? And I was just thinking, oh, can we be happy without ever feeling pain? And I was like, even babies feel pain. There's hunger and, wanting to sleep, not being able to sleep. There's wanting something else. I don't know, but there's so much happiness, but it is in contrast to something. It might not be pain all the time, but it's still something. There's something in contrast. And when you remove that, we're not humans anymore. So if there's no emotions, the other conclusion is that we are just mechanical versions of us. We are just this happy version of us, and then there's other version of us that is in pain. But that's only like versions of it. That's not fully us. That means we have no life after death. That means we cannot have this full human emotions. That means heaven and hell cannot be experienced by our human selves. That's just impossible. And that's what I feel like. Yeah. Talking about the afterlife reminds me and makes me think a lot about, some other theories like reincarnation, which not from a religious point of view, but, the idea that your soul is born again and again on earth to learn, to grow. And after a certain point, when you've learned and grown into this person that's fully you experience this thing called true liberation, or moksha, where you are relieved from earthly pain and you're never born again. That's the idea. And I'm going to talk more about it in a different video. And I just wanted to mention that because there's so many other theories. So I think we should look more into that, because I don't think heaven and hell logically makes any sense to me. But let me know you guys' thoughts in the comments, because I really want to know if there's other perspectives, or if you can counter my thoughts with, or my ideas with, some other points, and I would love to hear them. So yeah, that's all for this video. And if you enjoyed it, you can subscribe to my channel or like the video. I'm just grateful that you watched it, to be honest. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Until then, I think we should do all our good and bad stuff on earth, because I think this is the only life, only consciousness, only experience we would get as ourselves. And I think we should really make use of it. Alright. Have a good one, guys.